Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle, where Dean and Rob go through and we talk about all kinds of things marketing related. Today, we're going to be, we got a ton of questions yesterday, Dean, about seasonal businesses. So we had questions from landscapers, sprinkler guys, to roofers,
Well, we
to
had
everybody who's
we
gearing up for their
I
season.
even got a couple of questions from tax preparation people.
Tax,
Because
tax
they're in their
people,
season two right now, you know. So
right?
so
There's a lot of people that are gearing up. And the one thing I can guarantee is gearing up is our competition is making phone calls. They're doing robocalls. They're saying, hey, your business isn't being found on voice search. You are not being found out there. Your Google business profile isn't correctly
right,
listed. I mean, everybody's getting those calls
yeah,
now.
and you know what everybody needs to understand though is those calls are happening because they're finding you're on a list. You've done some things right already. I mean, if you're getting these calls, you're already doing some things right because they're
Right.
finding you. I mean, that's what people need to understand. Problem is with I'm seeing with a lot of these people like you're talking about, Rob, is the fact that they use their cell phones for everything, their business and everything. And when you're expecting cold calls and things like that, you don't know where the number is. It looks local. They call back and then they have them on the hook. And then they start getting this pitch saying that you're not being found. You're not on voice search. Your Google business profile, like you said, isn't correct. What I don't know what they're, but then they try to use the strong arm technique and say you need to sign up now because there's only this many spots. So they're trying to get you to commit to something before you get a chance
Right.
to do the due diligence. And so and for the people that are getting started, like the seasonal people, that's important because they want to make sure that people are seeing them when a search is happening for them. You know, that's where it's at.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, I got a few of those phone calls yesterday. You got a couple of them at your other business, and it's one of those things where they're trying to strong arm somebody to be able to make a decision. I called that basically being almost like a timeshare approach.
Right.
I feel like I've had a few drinks. I'm in Vegas. Next thing you know, I got roped into going to this timeshare. And they're like, but the price is this. Then the price turns into this.
Well,
Then it turns into
I,
this.
I,
And then a manager comes over to have a conversation and it just keeps going on and on and on.
I've worn that T-shirt.
You bought that
Right,
T-shirt,
yeah, well,
and now I
I
just utilize your
yeah,
T-shirt.
yeah. It's always my T-shirt, but but I mean, but for me, it was a good decision for where I was at in my life and that whole thing. But the problem is those, but for the business owners, they don't, we had one person say they told me there's only 3 spots left in our area. Gosh, dang, it's not true. It isn't like you got a publication date where you have to meet a deadline. In digital world, you can get in whenever you want, and as many people that want to get in can get in. You just have to be active and make your business be seen through the different things, through our marketing coaching process that we recommend, that we always talk about with the 3 pillars.
Exactly. Now, there's one question that we get asked all the time, and we get asked this at the local chamber events that we go to.
Yep.
We get asked this question when I get it instead of YouTube comments, instead of social media comments. I get it when I talk to somebody, which we really don't do have conversations
Like I
really
said, we don't
anymore.
really take the phone calls. Everything's chat and email. It just so everybody knows.
Everything's chat and
I mean,
email,
we
but
say phone calls.
um,
That's really not what's happening with us, with our
uh, that, que- that question that comes up is, everybody thinks that, you're my dad, I'm your son. And that's not the case. So I'm gonna close that case right now, right out of the gate, and just no. Dean started as a client of mine at a marketing agency, not turned into a friendship, then turned into this partnership that we have here. So, answer to that question is no.
No, you're not. I mean, I'm older than your dad, but that's beside the point. But
You are.
but no, but we are. We had a great business relationship that was where I was was where you worked for me as a marketing coach, if you will, and now we're coaching together because we both bring some unique ideas and thoughts to the table for the small businesses that we're working with and agencies as well.
Well, I think that's what makes us unique as far as what our approach is, and this whole entire Simply Be Found tunnel that we're starting, that we're kind of doing and getting more consistent with, that I'm dragging you into being on camera more and doing all of that. I think it's really super important. And one of the big things we like to do that we're going to do on this is treat it kind of almost like a talk show, talking just like listening to talk radio, but answering or we have members or potential members asking questions. There's other people who have those same questions that are out there. What we're going to do is we're going to answer those. So if you have any questions that you want to know, or anything you want to know, or even if you want to be on this podcast, we would love to have you on. So that way it's not just us two on here having a conversation with ourselves and doing everything that we were doing anyway, but now we're just bringing it into a video aspect.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go through a couple of those questions that we got asked, Dean, and let's kind of go through and see where we kind of go with it.
Sounds good.
With everybody gearing up for the seasonal businesses, it doesn't matter what kind of seasonal business you are. You're looking to get your phone ringing more. You're looking for more people possibly to come in, start building up your leads and start getting stuff going, which everything we talk about is organic marketing, and that takes time to be able to stack it. So now is the time to start really doing that, to where you can get ahead of your competition and kick their butt.
Right. And what everybody needs to understand is, just because you sign up today doesn't mean you got to see results tomorrow. I mean, that's the problem. That's why if you're seasonal and you're going to get, and you're ramping up and you start getting these calls in 2-3 months, you need to get started now, because it does take time, depending on your market, the competition, what the competition is doing. You have to get started now, because it can't take up to 3 months before you really organically start to be seen out there a lot. I mean, and that we have people that they get frustrated in about 2 months because they're not being there. But there are some large markets with a really heavy competition level, and it takes time there. We have other people that are kind of in some unique niches, and they're being seen a little quicker because it's just a different kind of a process. And we have that environmental guy that he's a little bit, he's kind of, there's not a lot of competition there. So he got seen on the searches sooner, but it really is, especially for the seasonal people, they got to get started now, especially if they're summer seasonal people, they need to get started now. I mean, I'm not trying to do a push, but if you really want to be seen organically, you have to get this process going.
You do. And if you're registering your business out there, and if you register your business through our listings engine, one of those things that happens is there's a lot of stuff in that backside that happens, to where we take your information and we're working with each of the networks to get you out to those, which we work with over 800 networks inside of our aggregator, which all an aggregator is just basically distribution. We distribute everything out. We don't really create profiles for you or do anything like that. What we do is we provide data over to each of those networks to be able to help businesses get found and make sure it's the most accurate information. But if you've used anybody else in the past, we might have to clean up some of that. Our data team is constantly working behind the scenes to be able to get all that done. I mean, it's one of those things to where you don't really see that from the dashboard, all the work that goes into it, but there's a lot of little tiny stuff that happens in that backside.
Right.
So getting it cleaned up, it's no different than going out and getting a yard cleaned up for getting it ready for the season. You got to make sure it gets all cleaned up, so that way it's optimized and ready to run.
Right. What people need to understand, though, is on the cleanup, when you're saying cleanup, it's really, we're pushing more data. We're pushing more current data out to try to push the other stuff down, versus we don't remove anything that's out there. We only push it down. Do I have that terminology right?
Yep.
For you? Okay.
Yep. You have that correct.
Okay. And that's,
you have that 100% correct inside of there. So, I mean, it's all about that, which we're going to have some new data points that are going to be possibly coming, and we're constantly updating our engine to be able to go out. And for anybody who's getting the phone calls, there's not the limited spots like we talked about. There is not. I mean, voice search is part of your local SEO. You should be tied everywhere. Watch these companies that are calling you up and wanting you just to, register on voice search, because really that doesn't exist. It's all about your local SEO, and your local SEO is tied to your social media and tied to your website. That's why it's NAP SW, which is name, address, phone number, social media, and website.
yes, sir.
Because it's all about turning your data into advertising.
Right.
That's 100% of what businesses need to be worried about and getting themselves out there. So one of those big questions we got asked is, what marketing strategies should I start now to get booked for spring and summer?
Oh, so you touched on, okay, first off, you got to get your business information correct on all the networks, is what, it has to start first. That's that foundation. And without that foundation, you're not going to be there. The next big step is you have to be active and putting information out on your social media feeds. If you don't have, if you have them, you need to make sure you're doing it. Sometimes it gets a little bit difficult for small business owners, especially if they're a one-person shop. to find the time to do that. And that's why we have the social media suite, which allows you to link everything and to put information out. You can make comments on it and everything, but you have to be interactive with that. But don't just put a bunch of fluff out there either. You have to put out good information, because I think with we use AI to help us do our job better, but we have the human element in there. Don't just do the AI piece and put a lot of stuff out there, because I think that gets a little bit heavy on information that's not necessarily good information.
Gonna hurt the quality score.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. AI has been wonderful, but the thing is make sure you're telling your story, interject with your people. But it's really that social media piece is the next big step besides getting your information out there, because then you're making people aware. You may not have a lot of followers, but if you put out good content, they may share it, or may land on the algorithms. I know that Facebook went through some new changes on the algorithms. Can you explain that a little bit about how that's working now a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely can. So, I mean, the whole Facebook piece that came out is to where their algorithm is changing, and their algorithm is now starting to get smarter. So what ended up happening with the AI world is it's able to learn faster with quantum computing,
Right.
is what the technical term would be. Things can process at a lot faster speeds and be able to balance itself out. So what they're able to do is they're able to say, okay, this person's going to be more interested in this. So what the algorithm used to do inside of Facebook is it relied on someone following you and then somebody, one of their friends sharing it. And their algorithm was very pinpointed where it needed to be. Now it's more broad. So if it thinks that that person is looking for a service like you have to remember there's a pixel installed on almost every website for Facebook. So they know what websites you've been to. They know what data points you have. It goes into that same theory of you talked about X, Y, Z, and now you're seeing ads for it all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, your devices, computers, everything, they're tracking you and they're following you. It's all part of the data piece.
Right.
And you want to use that same data to be able to capture your customers as well. So it's a love-hate relationship. But Facebook made those changes to where now their algorithm is a lot smarter than what it was. And it's able to deliver, which is going to change how it's delivering its results. You're starting to already kind of see it. It's going to be taking that major mix. And since we're going to talk about that Facebook piece, we also have this new update that happened out to all of the Google sites as well. Google made a huge change for JavaScript, how their algorithm's going to go. Google's been making tons of changes as far as what they're doing and how they're doing it. And it's getting smarter. Bing's making changes. Yahoo has a whole new piece coming out. I'm waiting for Lycos and Alta Vista to come back, but haven't seen that yet.
AOL. Let's bring it back.
You've got mail.
It's still there, guys. It's still out there. It's not used like it was. So
it is. I mean, it's all the stuff that's there. So, I mean, it's one of those things to where the algorithms have gotten smarter. So you have to put the data out there so it goes there. You got to remember, voice search is also crawling Facebook. It's crawling Twitter or X, I guess I should say.
Right.
It's crawling over LinkedIn. All of that stuff matters to your search engine. Your reviews are going to matter in there. That's all pieces that kind of stack up.
Right.
The other question we got asked is how can...
Sorry, let's back up just a second, Robert.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned voice search. People get hung up on that term because it's not necessarily, you may be voice activated search, but voice search isn't just because you spoke to your phone. It may be a process that goes through a search engine that you would type as well. And people get hung up on that a little bit, that it's not just Alexa, Siri. I mean, that's voice search, but when you talk to your phone, it may not be what you think it is. I mean, that's, and that, I just want to clarify that, because I've had a lot of people get confused, a lot of chats. They're saying, define voice search. I said, well, define that too. What do you mean by voice search? So I just wanted to just touch base on that a little bit.
So inside of the world of search, let's talk about the history of search and how it matters. And this works for any business, not just seasonal businesses. But when we talk about search, you've got multiple different things. You got Google, which used to be the main search engine, right, which it's not necessarily anymore. You have AI search. You've got Yahoo. You have Like, I mean, you have all
Yeah.
these things, DuckDuckGo, you've got hundreds of different search engines. Part of that is a voice search as well, which is going to be your Alexas, your Siris, your Cortanas, your Bixby's. It's going to be anything that you're asking for it to give information back. When you look at Siri, when you look at Alexa or Cortana or any of that voice search where it's answering back to you a result, it is such a baby still for how all that's working. A lot of it didn't even realize it was even need to touch on local SEO because Alexa doesn't even have a business directory inside of it. And it relies on everybody else's directories to pull its information in, which is why it's usually the last one to update because no one's going to crawl that information.
Right.
But a voice search is something that is coming back and answering you. You also have other pieces where you could type in and it's going to use those same directories. So everything is connected to one another when you are looking at all the world of search. The ecosystem of search, you've got thousands of networks that are all intertwined. They're all pulling data from each other and putting it all the way around. So everybody bounced on that voice search,
Yep.
bandwagon. You and I saw voice search. It's how we started Simply Found in the very
Yep.
first place. To be able to even start this, I said it's going to be a hot topic. It's going to be something that's going to be major because people need to rank inside of it. Getting yourself to rank inside of voice search is going to be the same as getting yourself to rank inside of local search in general. All one great big giant ecosystem. Does that answer that question?
It does.
Or did I just totally
I just don't
sidebar?
want people to just think that voice search is the only method that people are using their mobile devices with. It may feel like it, but it's not just voice search registration. It's part of it. It's part of the whole picture.
It's part of it. If we want to explore this and look at it, I'm not sure you're gonna be able to hear this, but watch this. Hey, ChatGPT, can you find a screen printer near me?
I can help with that. Could you please let me know your location?
I'm in Greeley, Colorado. It doesn't really show.
Yep.
Really cool. Several screen printing services available. One option is Go West T-shirts and screen printing. They're located at 1101 8th Ave, Greeley. You might also consider places like JB's Graphics or Stampede Screen Printing. Would you like more details on any of these options?
Which one has the best reviews ratings?
In Greeley, Colorado, some highly recommended screen printing services include Top Shelf Printers, located at 5807 West 20th, known for screen printing and embroidery. Another option is Signs First at 2986 West 29th Street, and Raven Sign Studio at 829th Street, which also offers graphic design services.
Okay, what about what screen printers will just do one item?
There we go.
If you're looking to print a single item in Greeley, Luma Screen Printing offers custom screen printing and embroidery services and can accommodate individual orders. Another option is same-day custom.
Okay, that is ChatGPT, and that would be considered voice.
Right. Now, the thing is, that's one search engine. If you take and say, hey, Siri, and ask the same question. I mean, we don't need to do that. People don't need to see it, but it's going to give you a whole different.
No, I mean, we can do a whole entire
Right.
show just on let's ask Siri, let's ask Alexa.
Right.
And I mean, I asked Alexa to find the what was it? I wanted a phone number for a pizza place, and it gave me a Chinese massage phone number, and I asked it twice, and it kept giving me the same thing. So that's where voice search is still at the very big thing.
Right.
But what I just did instead of that is I asked ChatGPT to go look at it, and then I was able to interact with it. And that's where having all the right data points is going to matter the most.
Right.
Is because people are interacting with your data.
Right.
And they're playing back and forth. So if you don't put the data out there, they're not going to know what you do. And it's somebody else is going to show up before you.
Okay. So the case in point on that particular search, let's talk about that a little bit, is you asked for Greeley, Colorado. And the thing is, if you're not in Greeley, Colorado, you're in an outlying community, it's not going to find you because your physical location is not in Greeley. Now, if you're putting out social information saying that, oh, I created this work for this business in Greeley, Colorado, you might get found because the search process is going to be different because now you're putting content out there that's talking about your location. I mean, that's where people are missing a lot of when we talk about long tail keywords and things like that. They're really missing out on some of the location pieces. And same way with social media, you want to make sure you talk about you did work. Take a picture. And I think that taking your own pictures works better. I don't know for sure that the metadata that's on those photos shows up, but I have a suspicion it helps because it knows that I don't know what's being communicated. I'm sure that as AI gets smarter, it's going to get more important that you took the picture in Greeley or you took the picture in, wherever. So that's the whole point of the social media piece, besides your name, address, phone number, because you're going to be there, but to put out that information about your business.
Well, that's where you got to be making sure you're doing the blog as well and talking about
Right.
different things. So if you're a landscaper or a sprinkler guy or whatever you might be, you want to make sure you talk about those information pieces. So I just did a project over in Greeley, Colorado, or Thornton, Colorado, or San Francisco, California. It doesn't matter where you're
Right.
located, but I did a project in this area. Take a picture of it, showcase that, and it doesn't have to be long. But now you just told a data point over to everything. So now you put it on social, you put it on your blog, put it on your website somewhere. You have that data point out there, because if those data points aren't there for the search engines to pick it up, no matter if we're talking about Google, if we're talking about ChatGPT, Gemini, voice search, does not matter. If your data points aren't there, you're not going to be found.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of small businesses are missing the point. They, and they put out, and they're saying,
City pages.
oh, there you go. And that's the W piece, the NAPS SW, the website piece. Putting city pages out there are important for that reason there as well.
They're super important,
right? And so,
and I mean, I'm seeing more people inside of our AI SEO package that are asking us to provide them over information to provide to their developers, and not using it the way we originally even created that whole piece
Right.
for. And being able to say, hey, can you create me some content that is going to be for a city page? And then having their developer come back and work on that. I'm seeing that happen more and more inside of that piece for that reason, because we could take that data. We know data really super well. We get asked all the time, do you guys create websites? No, we don't create websites. We can. That's not our forte. Our forte is being able to take data and turn it into advertising to where you're going to be able to get found from those points. So that's creating the content, that's creating the whole entire ecosystem of how everything works.
Right. And, we just had one of our members, they developed their own site. I believe it was Wix, I think it was. And they asked,
I think it might have actually been GoDaddy.
I don't remember, but they reached out and said, hey, how can I do this? They were doing their own stuff. We gave them the data points that they needed to talk about. And then I haven't heard back on the feedback, but the last I had talked,
they're ranking.
What's that?
They went from ranking on page 3 inside of Google to now they're ranking on page 1. They're still down at the very bottom, but they've worked their way up in the last month.
Right. But they did it themselves. They didn't, you don't have to have a true web developer, but a lot of businesses do. But if you have the fortitude to do it yourself, we can help you with that as well, with our data points.
Well, it's a matter of us being able to coach you to be able to tell what your website designer needs to know. Because a lot of businesses come in, they subscribe for this website design service, and the web guy talks about all this stuff and puts all these reports out there, and they don't give two shits about it. What they care about is how to be able to manipulate that data to get it to use for them.
Right. And those reports, sometimes they just overwhelm you with reports because you don't understand the data points, because that isn't your world. That's our world. That's what we can help you with to that.
I mean, we have a full team of data scientists. That's what they do. You and I do that. But the whole reason why they want to send reports out like they do, don't you?
It makes it look like they're doing something for you.
And no one knows how to read. No one knows how to read most of the reports, because most of the reports are bullshit.
Well, then I read sometimes.
These graphs they put out there, they really have no meaning.
I had somebody share a report with me, and I couldn't figure out what their data points were because I didn't know where they were pulling stuff from, and that's the problem.
What our developers created inside of the social media suite is the same way.
Right.
Some of those data points, and it's because that's the data that gets provided.
Right.
So, as we're talking about reports, There is no reports when it comes to how many people looked you up on voice search. That's another bullshit card I'm going to call out on all
There
the
you go.
competition. Is when they say, "Hey, you're missing out on this many voice searches," and this is how many were done in your area. As far as I know, and I live and I breathe this, and I'd love someone to call me up and tell me where they're getting that information, because I don't know of a single report that would even show it.
That's the bullshit card that we always talk about. I mean,
I'm gonna call the bullshit.
prove us wrong. I mean, show us that we're wrong, because I would love to know that we're wrong, and then we
I'd
know
love
where to
it.
go for looking for data points. We don't see 'em.
Right. I mean, I look at reports all day long instead of analytics. I've never seen it. So
Right.
I'm gonna call the bullshit card on that.
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
So I mean, that's kind of what that piece is. That next question that we get asked, that we've been asked in the last couple of days on for the seasonal businesses, is how can I use customer testimonials to build trust before the season starts? This is going to fit in. So you have three pillars inside of marketing. You have content, you have authority, you have trust, and they all kind of are intertwined between each other. Dean, what's your opinion on customer reviews? And I'll give mine.
Okay, well, customer reviews are, you need to, first off, you have to ask, because it seems like the only people who really don't want to give you information are the ones that are unhappy. That happens in business. So you need to make sure that if you do get those, respond to them, resolve the issue, and that kind of information. The other thing is, if you don't ask, you don't get the good reviews as well. So it helps them, like, a lot of like my daughter's in her 30s, and that's how she makes it. She finds somebody and she goes and looks at the reviews going, "Oh, they have 100 reviews, they're all 5 stars." I don't believe that. They're all 5 stars, but that's how she makes her decision. It's the old referral process, if you will. I mean, the word of mouth from back in the days when I first started businesses, people said, "Hey, this person did a really good job," and he shared it with other people. That's what the review process is now in the digital world. It's a chance to see how good you're performing, and how you respond to issues and how do you resolve it, kind of thing. So that's my take as a business owner. You have a different idea because you're looking at the data points a little different than I am.
For one, it's a great way to be able to advertise your business is getting reviews. I don't like to see a 5-star review ever. I think it actually hurts you to have a 5-star review for as far as an average rating. You can get 5-star reviews, but you can't make everybody in this world happy.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of those things to where, hell, we pissed somebody off. They weren't even a customer of ours. And it's all because they thought we were the company that they were with. I mean, no matter what we said in that, we were going to not win. But your reviews are a great way to be able to talk about what you do. So if you look at ChatGPT, voice search, you look at Google or any search engine out there, it's going to look at your reviews. Reviews are a very big point to be able to add data. It's great for them to be able to talk about. So if you're a local business, especially if your service area, you can talk about the different cities and everything that you're in. And that's why canned responses don't work
Right.
well. So when someone just leaves you a 5-star review and you know who they are, or they leave you a review in general, it doesn't have to be 5-star, but go back and go, I really liked working with you in X city.
Right.
And talk about the services that you offered, because now you are bringing those data points in for another spot for the search engine to capture that information.
Right.
So when you go to do a review, when you go to respond to it, if you don't know what to say and you don't know what to do, and there's one thing that we can help you with. I'd love to be able to get your question on that if you're a member and say, "Hey, well, how would you respond to this to bring local SEO into
Right.
it?" I mean, I've got no problem helping you do that. Inside of that thing, we have access to tools that do it. So I think reviews are a great way to bring data points in that are going to help you get found by more local customers, because that is what people are looking for.
Right. And you made a reference to the location. Some platforms, they define where this person's even located at, which helps it.
Some do.
Not all of them, but some of them do.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those things to where how you respond is everything. I'm a quote a movie for, I think it's Look Who's Talking. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And it's all about where you end up putting that information. And a lot of business owners do not put a lot of information in there because either they don't feel comfortable writing, They're trying to be able to move through multiple things. That's where we come in for our marketing coaching to be able to help you be able to respond to them. We don't have anything that does review monitoring or review management. We don't do any of that side, but we'll certainly help you with your reviews.
Exactly. And the response is, thank you for that kind review. Doesn't work. It doesn't give you any value. I mean, thank you. I get it. Thank you, but expand on it.
Right. Thanks for the kind review. And I absolutely hate these AIs that are coming out and they'll say, I'll respond to all of your reviews. I would never trust an AI to come in and respond to my reviews, because that is something that is very, I'm trying to think of what word I'm talking. It's that personal. It's that
Right.
personal. It's very intimate,
Right. You said that
to be able to make that connection.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that. So,
Which is absolutely huge. The next one is, should I run early bird promotions or preseason discounts for my seasonal business?
I hadn't heard that question until just now. You must have responded to those.
I got that question yesterday, and I was like, we're going to talk about that on our podcast, because that's a good, what kind of promo should I run?
Oh my gosh. It depends on your business. I mean,
Here's what I
depends
found.
on how hungry are you? How much do you need to fill your upfront? I mean, that's really the question. And how much are you willing to give away profit margin for your discounts? I mean, that's really a personal decision by each business based on where they're at in their life cycle, if you will. I mean, if you're a brand new business, you need to get the people seeing you, talking about you, get those reviews, those kinds of things. So you may want to offer a deeper discount to get those first customers in there. But you got to be careful, because I call it bastardizing your business. If you give too many discounts, then you get yourself in trouble, because everybody considers you the cheap person, or and you don't want to have, I guess it depends on who you are. Some people live on that. They do. That's such a hard one.
It depends on your business, depends on your area, depends on what it is you want to offer. Having everybody locked in, instead of, like, if you cut lawns and you want to make sure your schedule's full, because you have to make sure that you are feeding, paying all your employees for everybody that's going to be mowing the lawns, and get them side by side. Yeah. I mean, there's points and times to have a discount out there. Do I think you should be advertising and putting out constantly onto your social media that you're running deals? No, because someone will wait for a deal to come out. Bring the value and bring the solutions you're coming in. And I think this kind of rules us into AEO marketing, which is answer. Jesus, I just totally lost my whole train of thought.
Optimization. Now you got me doing it. That's like my URL. Or whatever the hell I always do.
Answer engine optimization. So basically, I mean, I think social media, if you do nothing but promotions, you're going to kill your business. You're never going to look like noise. But if you're answering questions that customers have and showing what problems you can solve, you can get a lot further into that. Hey, look, I can talk. But it's one of those. It's one of those things.
I want to say Rob couldn't talk. That's not heard of, guys. Rob always can talk.
I have brain farts a lot because my brain goes 5 times ahead. But but no, answer engine optimization. I mean, if you provide what are your services you're doing, you're going to have better opportunities. But I mean, running a promotion every once in a while isn't going to hurt your business.
No.
And being able to do it, make sure that you're going to make money off of it. Because you don't want to just offer discounts to offer discounts. Just like, I mean, everybody knows that when they walk into Kohl's that they are going to have a discount, a sale going on. That's why Kohl's has digital pricing throughout their store, because they mark it up to be able to offer the discount.
Right, exactly. And let's kind of talk about one other thing. We had one of our members who said that they were competing against somebody else, and they were in a big metro area, and they were doing free estimates. And they said, they're getting killed by somebody charging $50 for each estimate. I said, well, the problem is you're running around. So it depends on who you are, and he goes, well, I'm so busy, I can't see straight. And because he was doing free estimates. Well, the people that was doing the $50 estimates, when they got there, they got their money back against the bill if they took it. but it kept people from, so it all depends on where you're at and what you want to do, because, if there's some value to you coming and looking at a project as well. And I'm just trying to see that, and that's especially for our home services people, especially get that a lot.
It is. I really like the fact that people charge for an estimate when they come out. It's going to save you drive time. It's going to save you gas, and it's going to make it to where you can utilize your time
Right.
better and be able to give them, that back when they come up and they sign with you. It's going to depend on your area. There's different factors that could change that answer,
Right.
but you really have to, it brings value to what you're going to give them.
Right.
And if you write up an estimate, you write up everything that they're going to do, how it's going to be there, guess what? Charge for that, because they might go and they're going to use that to be able to compete.
Right.
It used to be back, people signed up for HomeAdvisors and Angi's List and all these different places, and they're competing against 5, 6, 7 people. Some areas they were competing against 20. I think Angi's List, or I can't remember if it was Angi's List or HomeAdvisor. It was one of them or both of them, because now they're owned by the same company, I think.
I don't know.
But
Sure.
they actually got sued because they were selling that data for that lead over to multiple different places. So I'm pretty sure they got sued for that because they were selling to too many places. I think they say they only sell to 3 now, 5 or some number like that.
But still, they're sharing it with 5 people, so they're going to take those estimates and compare each other. And you may have come out and you may have seen something that the other contractor isn't seeing, and then they go, "Oh, how about this?" And it takes value away from your expertise, if you will.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that's going to make you feel busy because you're going to run around like a chicken with your head cut off and be running all over the place. You're going to feel really busy, but are you really getting anything to sell? It comes down to, I worked with a roofer while he's still a client of mine on the marketing side. He was buying the leads from HomeAdvisors and Angie's List, and he's like, but they make me so much busier than what the organic is coming in at. I said, okay. So I talked to his assistant. I said, all right, let's stack it up and let's compare the two. So he's super busy. Went to like 25. Don't quote me on this because I'm going to just go by my memory. Went by like 25 leads inside of Angie's List and HomeAdvisors, paid anywhere between $50 and $100 probably for each of those.
Right.
And then he went out and did a total of 5 bids, I'm going to say, for us. That was off of organic. And we're talking, this was 5, 6 years ago. This is before Simply Be Found times. And we were comparing the two. So this one cost him this much per lead. He closed one of those. So he got that from Angie's List. The stuff from organic, he closed 4 out of 5 and ended up closing the 5th one. And they just did it the next year.
Right. And then see, that's the problem.
And he goes, but I wasn't, and he still argued with his assistant and said, but I wasn't as busy.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, no, you don't.
What's really interesting is it's 5 years ago that happened, and you just had a meeting with him this week, and he's still having that same argument with you about, I don't feel busy because I'm not doing as many estimates as I think I should be doing. So
it's gotten better. I mean, he doesn't go out and buy leads. He talks about it, but then he does it. He goes, well, that really hurt. That really sucked because I'm not closing anything.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you might not get as much off of the organic, but you're going to get a higher close rate because you're getting in front of people who are actively looking for the product you are right now. And they're not getting 15 phone calls from one place instantly. The problem with HomeAdvisors and Angie's Lists or any of those places you buy leads from, they're selling it to all these companies, and they sell it to some really big companies. Some of those are buying it way cheaper than you are because they're buying such a big quantity of them. And they've got robocalls, they've got salespeople, and they're going up, and it makes it really hard to compete. And do you really want to have that kind of business,
right,
to where you're competing that hard, or would you rather have a good flow of business that you're closing? You're not having to work as hard to get it closed, and you're able to close at a higher rate. You and I talk inside of business all the time, Dean, to where just because you're doing a higher volume does not mean that you're making more money and more profit.
Right. And, in addition to this podcast, we have a YouTube channel as well. And we did a whole thing on that, on the cost per closing one time. I mean, and we really went into a deep dive. That's a whole hour conversation on what it costs you to close and what's your profit margin for that one closure. I mean, it really depends on the industry, but that's where I think a lot of businesses get messed up. And I know we're diverting away from where we were at, but it,
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the
yeah,
whole
I know.
entire podcast is us having the conversations like
I know.
this. I know you want everything just to be, that's the whole point.
That's my damn engineering from the aircraft industry agent days. I still like, think it's got to be like this, and
I've never been like this.
yeah, you got the crazy, you can't do the crazy eyes, but, but I'll just, but the thing is, there's no, every business is unique. And that's what we have our marketing coaches for, because we understand, your situation. You may be a roofer over here, you may be a roofer over this over here, but it's going to be a little bit different, depending on your area, which you're at, what natural disasters may have happened, things precautionary things. So the approach is going to be different no matter what. There's nothing that says you fit in this box every time. And that's the biggest thing that small business owners get into sometimes.
Exactly. I agree 100%. The other question,
Yes.
how can I use social media to build hype before my season starts?
Start now. If you're 3 months out, start now.
Start now.
Yeah.
Talk about the job. Talk about the jobs you did last year.
Right.
Talk about what you're going to offer this year.
Right.
If you're going to toss a promotion out, toss a promotion out. But get consistent, because what you're going to do is you're going to build that data up to be able to support it, to where then when someone does a search, it has that data to work.
Exactly. And it's just, right now, just start now. That's the key. Start now. I mean, if you don't start, you never get, there's no perfect time. Just start now.
And your big thing is when you're starting now, you can also start making what's called evergreen content. And if you're using something like our social media suite, you can actually put it in there to where then it repeats over a certain time. So then when you get busy, everything goes to shit and you are running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you're going to be able to make sure you're going to have some generic content going out. You might not be 100% on schedule, but you'll be able to make sure that you have content going out so your data stays there. So then your phone continues to ring.
Right. And the other thing with our social media is we allow repeat information too. I mean, not just the evergreen, but if there's something you're doing that you make people aware of, don't run it every day, but, once a week, once a month, depending on, some information, and you keep that going, even when you get busy. And that's the other thing too, is when you start getting busy, you still need to be putting stuff out there because you're going to get back into that valley piece. And that's when it's too late to try to catch it. You need to be in front of it always. You know that your business is going to have ups and downs. Everybody's does. Make sure that you're putting information out there when you're busy too, because it'll help the slow time.
I agree. Your big thing with that is we just had a conversation, or I had a conversation with a member, and I told him, I said, hey, we had the same conversation when you first signed up. You're in your dead season right now. You're slow. You didn't put any information out. Then you got busy and it felt all okay. And now you're back into that same slump. You have to make sure you're putting that information out and just schedule it. Just sit down and schedule it out. It doesn't take long to do, especially if you're utilizing everything from your marketing coach, if you're using us.
Right, exactly. And that's what the biggest thing is. You're not using the member benefits that we offer. And that's that coaching piece where they say, can you help me with an idea? And that's, we don't write it for you, but we give you ideas on what you need to do.
I mean, we also provide some of that content.
Yeah,
we provide generic content out there all the time.
Right. It'll depend on where you're at, what level you're at.
I mean, they're going to have to edit it and make it them. They're going to have to change out the city. They're going to have to change out certain stuff. But I mean, we'll provide the data.
Right. And that's what I meant by we don't write it for you, because we don't know your business specifically. We give you,
but it gives you a starting.
We give you the nuts and bolts of getting started.
It gives you a starting point. The next question: what are the best ways to get repeat customers from last year to book early? I've got a great answer.
Oh, you lead with that one, because because in my businesses, I know who I reach out to them early, get started, but I'm gonna let you do your thing first.
I'm gonna pick on Dean for this one.
Sure.
I'm gonna really pick on him, because if you were collecting the right information, and most businesses aren't.
Yep.
For his other business, he doesn't collect the right information always, and his staff will not do it. It's a whole game. I get it, but if you collected their email address, their phone number, and have permission to send them a text message, send them an email, send them a text, and just start getting them up and get them to come in and follow your social media. Say, hey, follow our blog, follow our social media, follow what we're doing. We're ready to be able to help you, and we're looking forward to it. We had a great year last year, but get in touch with them. I mean, use automations to be able to do that. That's what it's all set up for and where it is. And if you're using WordPress and you're looking for a great way to be able to set that up and not have to spend a ton of money to do it, I recommend, Adrian's a great guy over at Groundhog, which is, with 2 Gs, .io. But, I recommend you getting that as a CRM and start stacking your information. You can do email blasts. I don't remember if you can do text from it, but it's a great way to build sales funnels.
Right. And, and the big thing is that, especially if they know who you are and they're existing. I mean, cold emails aren't necessarily as effective sometimes because we get so much junk in our inboxes. But if they know who you are and you know that this is, like we have seasonal businesses, we have landscapers for my other business that use us for what we do. They're gearing up and they're starting to order their stuff now. We knew that in January they get busy. They need their stuff by March because that's when they're out there in our neighborhood. So you're absolutely right that it's more important to be in front of people. And even that phone call, even if you just make the phone call, just say, "Hey, just come in." Hey, and by making that touch, it keeps them from getting pulled to some other business too that may have contacted them saying, "Oh, these guys sound better than what we had," until they get there and then they realize they don't. But then you've lost them for that particular sale.
Exactly. And start posting on social media and start posting on blogs so we get it to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, questions I get asked as well as, how do I make sure my website ranks well before the season starts? We'll start putting data out.
Right.
Make sure that you're registered on the right networks. Make sure you're putting all the data points out that are going to help your business. Because if you're not doing that, you're not going to rank.
Exactly.
I mean, it all comes down there. What local SEO tactics can I use to stay ahead of my competition?
Everything we've talked about today, basically.
Everything we do. I mean, you have to make sure that you're registered in the right spots. You have to make sure you're using social media and making sure that you're blogging. Make sure you have the right schema on your website. All the things that we coach on and help someone be able to overcome and be able to make sure they're all ready to go. Because if you're not putting the data out there, you're never going to be
right. And the biggest problem we have with a lot of business owners is there's so much they're so busy doing their business. They don't understand some of the things. And that's what we're there for. We're there to coach you, to offer suggestions. And we do once the work is done, especially the name, address, phone number piece and that part, it kind of just self goes and we let us do the work that we do. But then if something changes, make sure you update and make those changes to your information because that's important. Or if you drop something, make sure you take that off in there. So people you're not sending out miscues to searches when they're happening.
Exactly. And I mean, everything comes down to being able to manage your data. Manage your data. And if you take your data and you will utilize it on your website correctly, utilize it on your social media and you register on all the right networks, you're going to have so much business that you don't know what to do with. It's just going to take time and being consistent on putting everything out.
Right.
And I know it sounds rough. I know it sounds like that's a lot. And that's just a lot to come on to you because you're already running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're doing this task, doing that task. But really, if you sum it down, that's probably one of the biggest things. I don't want to say we dumbed it all the way down, but we made it so simple to be able to do this. And if you utilize your benefits with Simply Be Found so well, you're going to be able to grow your business. You're going to be able to get in front of more people. You are going to be able to do it yourself. Our entire process was to be able to create a piece of software and a whole entire system that someone who has zero tech skills can get the same results as a big corporation with a full marketing team. Do you agree on that?
I agree 100%. And, and besides just being simple, even though we don't like to use the word easy, it's easy. It really is. Once you're there,
it's easy.
It's not hard.
But it takes a little bit of work. It takes if you spend an hour a week on your marketing, I'm going to go back to an old thing that we used to always say. If you spend an hour a week on your marketing, you're going to be able to do this.
Right.
but it takes about an hour a week.
Right.
And being able to just get it to where you're being consistent. Consistency is everything. And giving it a little bit of time and being able to do it, and you're going to see the results. We have lots of members that are doing it. And it's the interesting part about that is we have anybody who is non-tech savvy all the way to agencies using us to be able to make it simpler. And you get someone who is, in their 20s and they're rocking and rolling it. And we have people, I talked to someone that's a member the other day, Dean, that is 87 years
Right.
old.
I remember that gentleman joining us, and so,
and he's rocking it. And he goes, I never thought I could do this. And that's the whole entire point of simplybefound.com is to be able to get you in front of the right customers and to make it simple for you to be able to do it. We cut through the bullshit to make sure it's there. And that's the whole point of this podcast.
right. Hey, I just want to throw something else out there, Rob. Let's talk about the chat piece. You can chat with us at any time, but Rob and I have now taken over 100% of the chats. And so if we don't get back to you right away, hang in there. We'll get to you.
You might be on a podcast.
Yeah, well, listen to our podcast. But I just want to let people know that you and I we've taken we've taken our team off for the most part. You and I have 100% of the responses because we need that feedback. We need to understand what's going on out there, what the questions are, so that we can pivot and make sure that everything we're doing benefits the small business or agencies that we're working with.
If you want to have a conversation, we don't do phone conversations anymore. If you want to have a conversation or have something answered from us, send it to us in chat and say, hey, I want you to talk about this on a podcast. We have no problem doing it. Now, that's going to be this whole entire part of this piece that we're releasing out. Or if you want to join us, we have spots that you could come in and we can have a conversation and be able to drop it in. We would love to hear from you and love to be able to help you grow your business.
Right. And actually, yesterday, I took a chat from a gentleman that wanted, I think it's a gentleman, I fit an assumption. But he wanted to join us. And we said, well, here's how you can do that. Email us and let us know that you'd like to join us. And we'd love to have.
Well, that was a landscaping supply house, right?
It was. And he wants to, and you know what? I would love to have the hard questions because I'd much rather have people asking us questions that make you and I have to explain the process better, because that's when we really shine, is when people ask us hard questions. You may stump us, but we'll find the right answer for you too. And we'll, and we've been called out and we were wrong a couple times. And we went, oh,
I was wrong once.
I thought I was wrong once, but I was wrong, kind of thing, but we're not perfect. But anyway, but that's the whole thing is I would love the hard questions. I'd much rather have a conversation with a business owner with real problems so we can help them solve it. And if you're interested, we'll have you as a guest and we'll talk about it, but we don't really take phone calls. We don't do a live event where we take phone calls. Okay.
We were spending too much time to do that when we can handle multiple chats, and it wasn't there. The big thing we don't want to do is we didn't want to bring in a bunch of salespeople that were going to lie to customers to be able to get a sale. We'd have to increase our prices because we have to pay now commission over to that salesperson and worry about what they're saying. It takes us out of what we do. Working with that business owner directly, you and I handle we handle 100% of the support that goes through. It's based on you and I. We know where everything is. That's why we know all of our members that are inside. That's why you're a member, not a customer, and why we built tools to be able to help. Now, we utilize AI to be able to help us be able to do some of this. We've built some of our own AI. We have proprietary AI equipment that's all to us. And that's what makes it very unique for what we're able to turn around and what we can do. Because we can take your business data and then we can turn it into that advertising by using that. And it's almost like if you're not using any AI software, even if you are, it's like having probably 30 or 40 AI different subscriptions all inside of your membership if you're utilizing your benefits right.
Exactly. And I had somebody call us out saying there's no way that with the base that we have that you and I can handle a little bit. Our system is really pretty stable. We don't have, there's not a lot of problems. And we spend more time with the coaching piece than we do with resolving issues with our dashboard and our platform, if you will.
Might take a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things to where, I monitor support way too much. You might get a response from 9 o'clock at night. Next night, you might not. But if I happen to see it, I'm not going to just let it sit there because then I'll be thinking about it and
Right.
then I'll be worried I won't respond back to you. So, I mean, our customer support during the business hours are pretty spot on. Plus, you get some after hour support if you ever send a message in. If we're around and we're able to take that question, I've been wrong before when I answer it from my mobile phone and then looked at your account and stuff like that. But I mean, that's just being human nature and
Right.
what it is. We going back to our whole entire piece of when we started this, we're a small business for small business. It happens to work with a lot of big businesses and a lot of enterprises as well.
Exactly. So
So I mean, it's a very unique piece. I mean, Dean and I didn't go out and get any venture capital or anything like that for backing. We built this 100% for you, for being able to help that small
Right.
business. That was our goal and what we're going to stick
and it's
to.
our vision. That's why we don't have outside people. It's our vision, what we think needs to happen.
I agree 100%. So if you want to join us on the podcast, do you have any questions whatsoever, hit us up, send us an email at hello@simplybefound.com. Follow us on social media, follow our YouTube channel, and check us out if you're not already a member. I mean, if you like seeing these random conversations and this kind of style of podcast, we'd love your feedback. And if there's something we said that does not make sense, we want to know that as well. I had a chat with someone the other day and he goes, well, most podcasts don't make any sense. They just toss a bunch of stuff out. So will you listen to it? Tell me. Because if we're not making sense on what we're saying, then we're not hitting our target right. And we want to know that because, I mean, that's how we improve and how we get better to help you.
Right. We're raw and unfiltered. We don't edit this at all.
Raw and unfiltered. I mean, we don't edit our videos hardly at all and put it right out to where it's what it is. I mean, shit.
Wait, here's the deal. We've been called clowns because it doesn't look professional. That's okay. You can say whatever you want.
Great.
I'm okay with it. You know,
We're not fit for everybody.
but you know what? You're not going to have cuts, and what we say is what we say. And so we're there.
Yep.
So
And things change. We're moving at a faster speed inside of organic marketing than we ever have.
yes,
So it's absolutely great. But thank you for joining us. If you made it all the way through this video, congratulations.
yes.
You just about 56 minutes to an hour with
Yeah,
us.
but
And,
thanks for
hopefully you
joining
learned
us.
something and we didn't rot your brain.
Anyway, thanks everybody.
Anything else you want to add, Dave?
No, I'm ready for that coffee you were talking about. So
All right, sounds good. Maybe a stiff drink for lunch.
no, that's too early in the day for me. If it was Friday, maybe, but not today.
Oh, okay. I'll wait for Friday. Thanks for watching. Check us out at simplybefound.com. I'm Rob.
I'm Dane. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. If you haven't watched our podcast before, it's great to meet you. If you've watched it before, it's great to have you back.
Yes.
Thanks and have a great day.